peace was good. Happy New Year. I'm still here. But getting back to it, I hope you guys had a wonderful New Year's and all that good stuff. But anyways, welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 60. The album that I will be reviewing is Ghostface Killah's second album, Supreme Clientele, released in 2000. You guys should know who Ghostface Killah is. He's 1/9 of Wu-Tang Clan, one of the illest groups of all time, one of my all-time favorite groups. You gotta start back in the early 90s, back in like 91, 92 with the formation of the group. In the album Enter the 36 Chambers, what a lot of people I guess got him noticed was from the song Can It All Be So Simple, from the song I think it was like track 5 or the Enter the 36 Chambers, excuse me. The song with him and Raekwon and stuff like that. And people just loved the whole, the chemistry between the two. And fast forward to 1994, Raekwon had released his first single off Only Built for Cuban Links, which is the song Heaven or Hell, which was featured on Only Built for Cuban Links. It was also featured on the Fresh soundtrack as well. And again, it just goes back to the whole, the chemistry between the two and stuff like that. 1995, Raekwon released his Only Built for Cuban Links. And Ghostface Killah was, he was kind of like the co-star of the whole album too. You know what I mean? So every song that Raekwon did, he was in it. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things. I mean, although Raekwon had some soul tracks, but a lot of the songs, Ghostface was on it too as well. Fast forward to 1996, Ghostface Killah released his first debut album, Iron Man. Very dope album, in my opinion, very underrated. I feel like that album doesn't really get a lot of shine. I don't know why, because a lot of people, when they think of Wu-Tang, they think of, like the 36 Chambers albums, the Old Dirty Bastards, the Cuban Links album. They always seem to skip over Iron Man. I don't know why, but Iron Man has some shit too. Very dope. I did a review on that album as well. And then throughout the early 90s, throughout the late 90s, Ghostface appeared on other people's projects and stuff like that. And also around that time, he's been getting in trouble with the law, with incidents like, he got caught, with a prior that he did back in like 95. And also as well, with him punching Mason in the face, breaking Mason's jaw. I'll explain that throughout the review and stuff like that. And because of that, that's what made this album push back, because this album was actually supposed to be released back in 1999, but he had to do it, he had to do a bit in jail, and then finally in 2000 he had to release this album after it got pushed back. It got released finally in 2000. Alright, you can see this is what the album looks like. How I get down, I'm gonna show you guys what the album looks like. Comes with this, the Legend of Wu-Tang, DVD that's out right now and stuff like that. That's what the CD looks like. Like so. And you can see right here, see like the dope, the lighting from the back and shit like that. I always like that kind of picture and stuff like that. Pretty dope. Alright. Oh, and by the way, I know some of you guys been asking me the name of the songs that's been that's been playing in the background. I posted them in the description box so you guys should know and stuff like that. My earlier reviews I haven't been doing that, but don't be afraid to ask. If I know it, I'll let you know and stuff like that. But for future reference, all songs played are in the description box. Alright. Just have the production credits. Dope picture right here. Stuff like that. The shadows, the thank yous, all that good stuff. Alright. Singles I was known for. There's 2 singles off the album. The first one is no, I'm sorry. There's 3 singles, excuse me. It's Apollo Kids, which was the first single, Mighty Healthy, and Sheshe La Ghost, alright? There's 3 singles off the album. break down some of the songs. give you guys the features and the production groups and the producers and stuff like that. Guest stars, guest appearances, RZA, Lord Superb, Raekwon, RZA again, Capadonna, Method Man, Master Killer, Redman, 60-Second Assassin of Sons of Man fame. He has an album out too. I didn't hear it, but I definitely gotta check that album out though. Came out I think back in like 2008, 2009, or 2007, like one of the two. But I knew he came out with an album not too long ago, like a couple years ago. Lord Superb again. Jizza, Capadonna, Master Killer, and Raekwon. Producers of the album. Arthur Wilson, aka Black Moses. Juju of the Beatnuts, very underrated producer. Dope group, by the way. Who else? Callers 6 July, Brody, dope producer. You guys should know him from like the stuff he's done for like a lot of Dark Man and people like that, and like earlier Wu affiliated groups and artists and stuff like that. Who else? Producers. Blacksmiths. Hassan. RZA, of course. RZA again. Alive Mathematics. Dope producer from Jamaica, Queens. He's also a Wu affiliated producer. Very underrated. Inspector Deck. Yes, same Inspector Deck, the MC. He actually makes his own beats and he's pretty dope. I wish he just put out more stuff. In fact, he was supposed to come out with an instrumental album, but I don't know what happens to that. But we'll see what happens with that. Carlos Brody again. True Specialist. Who else? The RZA again. Carlos Best. Shout out to Carlos Best. A lot of Mathematics again, and that's it. You know how I get down. I'm gonna break down through some of the songs. All right. The first one's the intro. Nothing to it. It's just a skit from like the from the comics Iron Man, and it's fun from the '60s, and it's funny because I talked about this in my review. In my hip hop rant part 8, where I did like a couple weeks ago. Ghostface actually got in trouble for that skit because it used like inserts from from the comic series the Iron Man, and it's like he didn't even use it for a song. He just used it as a skit, as an introduction to the song. You know what I mean, to the album. But I guess they wasn't trying to hear that, so fucking copyright. You gotta love them niggas. Stupid, son. Next song, Nutmeg featuring the RZA. It's a pretty dope track. Dope way to start the album. To me, it sets the tone of the album. It's a very dope. It has like a nice soul sample to it. Very dope. I definitely love that song as well. One of my favorite tracks, track 3, 1, produced by Juju, like I said before, of the Beatnuts. Very dope song. The beat is tough, yo. Like, has like a nice soul, like kind of like a something you would hear like a, I don't know, like one of those soul singers like from the 60s and 70s. You know what I mean? Very dope. Definitely one of Juju's illest beats in my opinion. Track 4, Saturday Night. It's a pretty dope track. It talks about about him being. It's like a story he gives you about him being harassed by the cops, but then the story ends with an ill twist. It's like something you would have to listen to for yourself and stuff like that. Track 5, Ghostface featuring Superb, aka Lord Superb. Interesting thing with that track is that song Ghostface, he had to actually change the beat because of sample clearances. And the original version, the beat, if you guys are not familiar with that beat, if you have heard the Swarm album that came out back in 1998, the song by the Ruthless Bastards called Bastards, it uses that instrumental. That instrumental was supposed to be the original song of Ghostdini, but they had to change it due to sample clearances. So they changed the beat and put a different beat. But it's pretty dope. It's a dope song. I like the original too. I'll post a link down in the description box for the original joint. And speaking of Lil Superb, he was on Forbes DVD a couple of years ago of him saying like, or even before Forbes DVD, but he had a interview saying that he wrote the whole. He pretty much wrote this whole album. Like, you know, Ghostface Killah didn't write none of the songs, but you know, Ghostface like, nah, fuck that. I think that's bullshit. What Ghostface said was, you know, when he was in the studio, you know, Lil Superb might have like thrown in some ideas and stuff like that, but as far as like writing the songs, you know, there's no way. And I kind of agree with that because, you know, Ghostface Killah, he's a dope storyteller, you know, dope MC. I mean, he has a unique voice. There's no way you could copy his style. There's no fucking way. I disagree with that. You know what I mean? But very dope song. Track 6, Apollo Kids, which was the first single off the album. Very dope song. Dope video too. You see him in his robe and shit like that. You see him in the factory where they're making like a whole bunch of wallabies and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty dope. Dope song. Definitely has that old 70s New York vibe to it and stuff like that. And that's the thing about this album. This album has like a real Motown, kind of like Stack Records, you know, Al Green type of soul feel to the album. That's what I like about it. It's pretty dope. Very ahead of its time. Especially for 70s, especially for like 2000. Because now everybody's trying to go to that route, but Ghostface was one of the few heads to do that. In fact, I think Wu, they kind of did that first. Like, there was like one of the real dudes to do that first and stuff like that. Track 7, The Green, featuring the RZA. It's a pretty dope song. It has like a nice 80s, like late 80s Marley Marl type of homage to it, I guess. Like a nice, something you would hear, I guess, like maybe like the Juice Crew rapping over it. You know, Coogee Rap back in like 88 or 89 rapping over to it. I thought it was pretty dope. It has like that real gritty, kind of grainy sound to it. I like it. I like that too. Buck 50, track 8, Buck 50, featuring Capadonna, Method Man, Master Killah, and Redman, produced by the RZA. Pretty dope track. They all do their thing. I mean, Capadonna, very underrated. His the Pillage album, very dope album. I recommend you guys checking that album out. Method Man, you guys already know my feelings about Method Man. I'm looking forward to that Crystal Meth album. Hopefully that shit comes out this year. Master Killah, he just came out with an album. I forgot the name of this album that came out, but very dope MC, very underrated. I feel like he deserves a lot more shine, in my opinion. His No Set Day album that came out in 2004, very dope album. I don't have that in my collection. I definitely need to get that. I definitely will be doing a review on that. And Redman, you know, I did a couple of his reviews on his albums and stuff like that. Very dope MC, very underrated. They all do their thing. You already know what you're getting with them. Track 9, Mighty Healthy, produced by Allah Mathematics. There's a video for that. I'll post a link down in the description box. Very dope song. One of my favorite songs off the album. Pretty dope as well. The video is dope. It has like a nice Chinese sample, and it uses like the what's the drums? The Melvin Bliss joints. The substitution something. You guys know what I'm talking about. On top of my head and stuff like that. It's a Melvin Bliss joint. Track 10, Woodrow the Bass Head. It's a skit. It's pretty funny. My only gripe with this album is some of the skits are a little bit too long for my taste. But other than that, it serves its purpose in the album and stuff like that. You won't let it. You know, if you don't let that get to you too much, then, you know, you wouldn't even, worry about it. But I just thought it would be something to throw out there and stuff like that. Track 11, Stay True, featuring 60-Second Assassin of Sons of Man fame. Very interesting fact with this song. The beat that was used, it was produced by Inspector Deck. That song Stay True, the beat was also used on the same. Inspector Deck used that song on his first song, Uncontrolled Substance. I think on a song called what's the song? Forget Me Nots. I think that's the name of the song, if I'm not mistaken. If I find it, I'll post it down in the description box and stuff like that. But I believe that's the name of the song. And the song is short, Ghostface is doing his thing and stuff like that. Very dope beat, very dope. I like it a lot. Track 12, Remade It, featuring Lord Superb. That song I like. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty dope. Track 13, Stroke of Death. That's more of an interlude. It's a song, but it's like a short song and stuff like that. Track 14, Iron's Theme, Intermission. It's another interlude and stuff like that. You get to hear Ghostface, he's kind of like singing, kind of like harmonizing, stuff like that. It's pretty dope. You can see his soulful side, excuse me. Track 15, Malcolm. That song itself is actually controversial. Because there's a line where he says, yo, I champ punched Mace in his face the other night over some bullshit. He talks about how he snuffed Mace in his face. He punched him in his face, broke his jaw and shit like that. And because of that, he went to jail because of that. And I hate to say it, but that kind of, well, let me explain why he did that. There was a situation where I think Mace was at a concert. He was at a hip hop show or whatever, and he was talking about how hip hop was kind of going down a certain way and stuff like that. And he was talking shit about the Wu. Ghostface wasn't having that. He saw Mace, and they started fighting and shit like that. And Ghostface just snuffed him, broke his jaw. And I hate to say it, but because of that, that's what killed Mace's career. You know what I mean? Because right after that, Mace came out with his second album, Double Up, but that didn't really do well. I'm not a big Mace fan like that, but I retracted some of this stuff, and the dude could actually spit. And before Bad Boys, he was part of Children of the Corn, with Cameron, Big L's old group and shit like that, and that's when he was known as Murder Mace. I just wish Mace would go back to that style, as well as Cameron and McGruff and stuff like that, but that would never happen. But I'm getting off topic, but that kind of killed Mace's career. And he started becoming a pastor now, and then he put out that bullshit album Welcome Back or whatever that shit is called in 2004, and then that didn't last too long, and then he kind of went back to his I guess you would say his secular ways, his old regular ways, I guess. And he tried signing with G Unit. I think he was with them for a little bit. Don't quote me on that. I think it was. I think he was part of G Unit for a little bit, but that didn't work out or whatever. But that's why it was so controversial. And like I said, Ghostface he went to jail because for snuffing Mace and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty funny. Track 16, Who Would You Fuck, is a skit. Self-explanatory. It's just Ghostface and his boys, Wu, the whole Wu-Tang. Talks about who they fuck, as far as celebrities and stuff like that. Shit that you and your boys would talk about. You know what I mean? Just men talk. You know how that go. You know what I mean? Track 17, Child's Play, pretty dope song. Has a nice out green type of feel to it. Pretty dope. It talks about his I guess his first sexual experience as a child. He talks about how he was with a little girl named Sally. started feeling the ass and shit like like little boys do to little girls when they're young and shit like that. I mean, we all did it. I know I did it. So pretty funny. I could, I'm pretty sure a lot of guys could relate to that. Track 18, Shit Like Ghost. All right, I'm gonna confess something to you guys. When I heard Shit Like Ghost, because that was the first song I heard from this album, Shit Like Ghost, I dismissed this album because of Shit Like Ghost, because I thought that whole album, I thought the whole album was gonna be based on Shit Like Ghost, like because it's kind of like a trick song, you know what I mean? Like you listen to it, it's like Ghostface, like what the fuck? I'm so used to Ghostface, from like the Iron Man days, like the whole gritty, New York, early to mid '90s Ghostface. That's the Ghostface I like, you know what I mean? That's not to say Ghostface now is bad, because I think right now he's better than before, you know what I mean? But that's a whole different conversation. But I just base this whole song off the whole album, and I know that's not fair, it's not right, but it is what it is. But then it took me a couple years to like finally get with this album. I checked it out and I liked the album, and that song actually grew on me. So it's not as bad as I thought. But when it first came out, I was like, yo, what the fuck, Ghost? Like, you making chick songs and I like, what the fuck? But then again, in the Iron Man album, he did a somewhat chick song called Kame. The song Kame, which is a dope song as well. So who am I to say anything, right? Track 19, Wu Banger 101, featuring Jizza, Capadonna, Master Killer, and Raekwon. They all do their thing, pretty dope. I love that song, pretty dope as hell. And that's the last song off the album. Track 20 is Clyde Smith. It's a skit. It's kind of like a 2.5 minute skit of Ghostface Killah talking, but he just distorted his voice, and he talks about people. It's just like like I guess his alter ego of of Ghostface Killah, Clyde Smith, where he pretty much addresses 50 Cent, because 50 Cent at the time, like around 1999, he made that song How to Rob, which was also featured on his Power the Dollar album, which was also featured on the Into Deep soundtracks, which I did a review on as well. He talks about, because he talks shit about the Wu-Tang and shit like that. So Ghostface wasn't having that. So he pretty much addressed 50, like, yo, if I see you, you're gonna get got and shit like that. But that never happened. So stuff like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. And track 21, Iron Man's Iron's theme conclusion is the same as Iron Theme's intermission. It's the same beat. It's just him harmonizing. And that's it. That's it. Overall, very dope album. Definitely one of his best albums. There's been a lot of debate which album is better, Iron Man or Supreme Clientele. Me personally, I would say Iron Man, because I don't know, the Iron Man for me was just like a lot more, I don't know, it was a lot more dirty, it was more gritty, it was more street, I guess. I just like the sound of the album. It was just so gritty, it was so dark, you know what I mean? And the fact that, to me, that album kind of left off where Cuban Links, the first Cuban Links came left off, in my opinion. I feel like that was like I kind of feel like Cuban Links was kind of like what Black Caesar is, and Iron Man would be like Hell Up in Harlem. That's how I take it. I see it as, it's kind of like the sequel to that. That's how I see it, anyways. Another thing too, there were some songs left off. Like I said, the original version of Ghostini, which was with the original sample. I'll post that in the description box. And there's another song called In the Wise, which was not featured on the US version, which is this. It was actually featured on the Canadian version. I was reading up on it, like why it was left off. It was saying because it was too emotional for the album, so they left it off. If I find a track, I'll post it down in the description box as well. And there was another song that he did with Charlie Baltimore called Stand Up, which was actually for Charlie Baltimore's first album called Cold as Ice, that was supposed to come out back in 1999, but it was shelved, and it didn't come out until like years later. I think back in like 2008, but I think it only came out digital form and stuff like that. So but I feel like that song Stand Up should have been on Supreme Clientele, because that would have been perfect for the album, for this album right here. But I definitely recommend you checking this album out. 2000 was definitely an interesting year for Wu-Tang, because around like the late 90s, Wu was kind of like, their popularity was kind of like dying down in a way. But I feel like this album was kind of like boosted up. It kind of like had people's attention, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that review. Stay tuned for more. Peace.